My name's Salim Siddiqui, and I'm not the guy you're looking for. You see, I'm not involved in anything. Everybody in the world is freaking out about 9/11, and thank God I happen to be in Canada, not connected to anything, not associated with anyone. My personal situation has been the forefront of all of my activity, and I'm not involved in any organizations, any groups, not involved in giving any lectures. You see, I haven't been doing anything for the last 5 years because somewhere between 93 and 95, I had been the one telling everybody the world is coming to an end. I had been the one giving the lectures about the signs of the Day of Judgment and the coming apocalypse and beings from other realms. I had been talking about Djinns and giving all kinds of lectures, and I had just gotten tired and jaded, quite frankly, and decided to just let it all go. And now with my own personal situation, now caring nothing other than about my own family, it's not my problem what's going on out there, and I'm not involved in anything, and I'm not the guy you're looking for. Everything's actually pretty quiet for me. I finished my degree in Toronto, and my family's pretty much settled down, and everything's going smooth. And then my father says, "It's time for you to go get a real education." And I say, "Seriously, Daddy, come on, not this again." Right? You better decide to make your move. And you know I want you to be a lawyer, right? You're always better off becoming a lawyer. See, every time I talk about doing business or running after the money because, if you're going to play the game, you might as well play for money. Everywhere I went, everybody always said, "Listen, do you know what money can do? You could change this, you could change that, if you just had a little piece of the American pie." But my father kept saying, "You need to study the law. You need to understand things from a legal perspective. When you're a lawyer, things will be different." And I was thinking, I want to do an MBA, maybe do something else. Well, I didn't even want to go to school, but my father's insisting, and he's like, "No, you should study the law." He had to study the law in India just to even get a passport to be able to leave the country. And I'm thinking, look, I'm born and raised in the West. I don't have any social issues. I understand about the law and, the legal system. I mean, I heard Miranda rights on cop shows and legal shows, and I understand all the amendments and stuff because, we have cable, right? I know about my rights, and I have my rights, and no one's stopping me, but I keep thinking about that guy. Come on, brothers and sisters. You're listening to Hot Conflict, and this, as you know, is the strangest story you've ever heard. I'm thinking about that guy in the cave, and I'm there now taking care of my father, and he's actually not dead. He's alive, and I'm living with him, and I'm serving him, and I'm thinking about that guy who takes care of his father at his father's bedside, holding up the milk, waiting to serve his father, and leave it to my dad to say, "No, I want you to go to school. Go get an education. Don't worry about me. I don't need to be taken care of. You got to figure out what you're doing." And see, I'd been selling all of our assets and thinking, okay, I'm going to try and live a different lifestyle. My focus is all on how much longer is my father going to live? And my father's saying, who knows? I could die any moment, and I could live for 10 years, 9, 11 years, they say statistically. I got a heart transplant in 2000. Now it's almost 2002, 2003. You need to come up with a plan. You need to go. I start applying to law schools all over the United States and think to myself, okay, if I'm going to study law, I might as well study it in the States. There's no point in going to law school in Canada. And plus, with the economy changing by 2002, 2003, situations were getting really rough. And to be able to get into a a really good school is difficult. I ended up applying to almost 30 universities for law school. And for some reason, I ended up going back to Houston, Texas, accepted at South Texas College of Law. And there I am now with my father in Canada, and me and my wife and my kids are moving back to the States. I mean, we just moved up here, and now my father wants me to go back to the States, and he's telling me, listen, you don't understand. You think you understand everything, but the world is different. And if you become a lawyer, you'll see. It won't be the same. And I think my old man doesn't really understand what he's talking about. I don't get it. I've traveled everywhere. I've been everywhere. I've done anything I wanted to. What is he talking about? It's after 9/11. Everybody's still kind of freaking out. And here I am, a guy with my past, my background, a guy who goes through terrible interrogations every single time. And I keep telling everybody who asks me, listen, I'm not involved in anything. I'm not the guy you're looking for. But I'm going back to the States with my family in a post-9/11 world. So you got to ask yourself, you are not afraid? Broken Saints. An amazing anime, manga, classic. You guys should check it out. A quote. You are not afraid. The wise man says in the show, the fool puts his head in the lion's mouth. The fool puts his head in the lion's mouth. The wise man refuses, knowing that the beast's hunger will someday claim him. The believer knows this truth and puts his head in anyway. My name's Salim Siddiqui, and I got a question for you brothers out there. Are there any Daniels out there who understand what it means to be in the lion's den? And what is the nature that is required? Is it aggression and violence? Or is it something much, much greater than that? You see, there I am. I've got the U-Haul. I've got everything packed. I've got my kids, my wife. We're driving back from Canada to the United States, and I'm going into the George Bush presidency in the Republican era in a post-9/11 world. And I'm at the border driving through. I go to the checkout, papers, documents, me in a U-Haul, my wife in a car behind me, a van. And I get the typical questions. And see, brothers and sisters, I don't go through the details every time, but today we're going to go through a little bit of the specifics. They run my passport. More people come out, start asking me questions. What am I doing? What do I got? Have you ever been arrested or convicted of a felony? Yes. I've been arrested, but I haven't been convicted. Pardon? You asked if I've been arrested or convicted for a felony. I said yes, I've been arrested, but I haven't been convicted. I was arrested, but I wasn't convicted. Step out of the vehicle, sir. Yeah. Okay. No problem. This is typical, brothers and sisters. This is how every interrogation starts for me. And it usually doesn't end anytime soon. I don't know how many hours we go through that night, somewhere between 8 and 11 with me and my wife and 3 kids. They have the running x-ray machines going over our trucks, our cars. But for the first time, I'm going to tell you something that is very, very interesting. That is the only time I noticed it. Perhaps because it was the only time it happened to me. But as the customs enforcement agents were going through all of my belongings and even my stuff in my own pockets, including my wallet, there was a significant amount of deep interest when they pulled out that blue card from the insides of the inner folds of my wallet. Salim Siddiqui, Master Mason, Blue Lodge, 329, Houston, Texas. Everyone gathered around and stared at it. This was a post-9/11 world. Something was different. There I was, a Muslim guy, clearly. Deep history, deep background, traveled to a lot of interesting places, coming in, and I have a Master Mason card, and they all seem strangely shocked. Ask yourselves, oh people of the United States, are there Muslims in the Master Masons lodges? Well, at this point, there's many Muslims thinking, who is this guy? Who is this Muslim guy talking about promoting Masonry? Saying that he's a Master Mason. I am a follower of the Prophet Muhammad. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. The master of the masters, the seal of the messengers, the final bearer of the word from the Archangel Gabriel, from your Lord Most High, the creator of all that is, the supreme architect, O my brethren, the one who created the perfection of everything, the one who is not described by any sign, symbol, number, or any physical manifestation. He is Allah. That which we only describe as light. And there, being held by the customs people, I see something strange. But oh, brothers and sisters, I really don't understand the connection. It's only 2002, 2003. And I've been through all the teachings of a Master Mason, and I know that there's strange things going on, but I really don't understand. You see, I get the typical men in black who come in with a huge file and go through everywhere I've ever been, from Bosnia to Egypt to Pakistan to India to Saudi Arabia, in and out. I go through intense questioning like you can't imagine, but you already know what they already know from looking at all of my information is that my name is Salim Siddiqui, and I'm not the guy you're looking for.